Going to do some work to Dumpy today. We're going to go on this truck and do a quick patch job to all these holes. I mean, there's a hole in the patch. But I'm going to start with the inside of this box. Overall, it isn't too bad. Right there, she's gone through. Don't have any big gaps like this either, because sand and dirt and stuff's going to be hauled in this truck. It's kind of a goofy, like, little piece somebody welded in there. So I'm going to see if I can grind that out today and just weld in some strips of angle iron. Attach that all together real good. Just show some crazy crap in between here. I've been grinding for about an hour now. And we got that piece all cleaned out of there. It was rusting out pretty bad. I think I'm going to stop short at that thick piece. Actually, to get the torch out, there was another thick piece there. And blow it out. And I'll see if I can get my angle iron to fit this pretty good. This bed ain't perfectly flat or square. There's a little gap in there. The clamp ain't big enough. So I'm going to try some self-drillers to suck it sideways and suck it down.
This is going to be a quickie patchy job. We're just cutting out places where there's rust, make squares, weld them in, kind of rough grind them out, paint it black. Underneath where this was bubbling, there's a lever action that it was attached to. So I'm going to have to separate that and then weld it in and reattach that after it's welded in.
We got this piece welded in here, and we're going to spot patch the holes that were in it. And I cut a hole out here. There's a bunch of crap in there. I started digging it out. The whole piece of C-channel in there is just filled with crud. So I'll get the best I can right here, and that's going to have to be good enough.
Well, this is for that device for dumping the back tailgate. It's got to be welded to this patch. It had all got water in between it and started to grow and separate. So we got different body parts from different places, and you can see quality changes from one shop to another. And this one's pretty rough. Usually they come with an E-coating. This is just metal with oil on it, and it's in the right shape but not perfect. So you got to trim it and get rid of stuff that's hindering you from getting it into the right place, but they're giving you extra, so we'll cut it until we can get close. A lot of this can be removed because you got this piece, and that would just be overlapping anyway. And this is what gives it the strength, this trough in here, and then the rocker, goes against here. This edge here is going to give it a lot of strength. And then we might have to make custom little pieces to fill in.
You can tell this piece here was like mass stamped, and it lines up pretty good with the factory stuff. And then this piece here, this was a C to C. It's like someone drew it on here with a pencil and
just ran it through a, what do you call it, a bead roller.
So we're just cutting away all the rusty metal here, and did a little trimming on this cab corner because this rounded edge didn't really fit right. It's going to be something like that, but it's not really fitting that great down here.
You can see how the pieces were, the dies get worn out, and then when they were stamped they weren't as tight. And the distances of these
there was like a big
curves, were like a half. This is only a little 1/4 inch depression, and they had it like that big. Every one was oversized. So I think we should just zip this off, connect it where it's level, and then build our own pieces in there. So you'll see when a body mount structure has spot welds in here, and that box goes down. If you went on the other side, you can get at it through this plug. And the floor pan is attached. And then this piece is part of that box. and you got a gap right here because it's suspended. The cab is still up. This is how this whole bracket is rotted away, and you see the body mount or the cab mount is over there. This has to be all rebuilt. Kind of lift up on that corner before we even put floor pans in. We're gonna have to fix the box because it's all mouse shit in there. This whole thing is a bracket that ties up this whole corner of the cab, and that's where you get at the bolts for the cab corner, and on that side it's gone. So this needs a little bit of repair, and this is how the floor pan ties. It's just like that torque box on that Cougar we did. Everything's, oh, just put floor pans in. Well, the rocker ties into it, the firewall ties into it, and this is what they call a torque box. This gives it all that strength in that corner. So this bracket gets welded up here, and it goes back here, and you see where the body mount is, and that's where mice get in here. But when it ties to here, underneath to the floor pan, it makes that whole strong structure, like a pyramid. Well, you get an idea. It's all pre-fitting it tonight. We're gonna have to make other little patches and stuff. We need a strip in here. So you can see there's gonna be a little trimming and detailing to get our corners and our strips. It'll be like, but once all this is all tied together, it'll give the cab its strength. It's just all in these corners that you thought that you were buying a piece that was going to be prefabricated, and it turned out they weren't good.
These hinges really don't look terrible bad. There's a bunch of sag in the door. I don't know if we have to adjust this portion of the hinge or what. But I do have a new hinge pin bushing kit. It's like 12 bucks. If we're doing all this, might as well try to do that and at least attempt to get the doors to shut halfway decent. The bottom of these hinges are like mushroomed over. I'm just going to take the grinder and grind it off. See if I can knock them up. The bushings didn't look that bad. There is a little bit of wear in this bottom pin. I'd say we gained a little something on this very bottom one. Here's where the front of the seat bolts up. It was all rusted out there. I'm just making a quickie patch and get the floor attached back where that seat bolts up. I was going to do the back right away too, but this whole thing is pretty flimsy. I want to keep everything located where it is, so I'm just going to do one of these at a time. This cab is so rusty, we're not going to attempt to patch every single rust hole in it. You know, there's stuff like that. Probably a lot of seam sealer shoved in holes here and there. And like I said, no beauty queen, but it's good and solid there now. The door's back on this hoopty. I had to adjust both ends of the hinge to get it where we want it. Keep in mind there's going to be a rubber gasket here, but the lines are lining up good enough. It's shutting good enough. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can tack on that rocker panel and cab corner. Get them lined up with this door.
Let's do this the quickie way. He's got original metal here, and he went underneath, so it's lapped. You weld it, and then when you mud over it, it'll come even. You won't even see that.
We got her tacked in. This piece seems like it's bowed out a little bit or something.
In order to strengthen this all back up, this whole structure where the body mount and this rail here have to be tied in. So now that we're fitting this up, we got to drill holes in here because we don't have the air tool. We have to get down to that structure and tie this all together and give this thing strength. So we got to push this down, pound them until they touch. We could even use those sheet metal screws like you have, the self-drillers, and then as you fill them up, then you remove them. Oh, geez.
Made a little mistake there. Had to add a sliver. And in the end, this piece just got cut off.
I mean, right now, this thing's solid as a rock, but once we tie in everything, you'll be able to stand on it and jerk. The other side is going to be the big problem, trying to even get the cab corner structured.
I'm cutting away up here, getting ready to patch the front of the box here so it's sealed up good and tight. And then I kind of noticed this floating around. What the heck, you know, this whole thing could tip back. I come over to this side and that's all welded up solid. I don't know what happened here, but I think I'm going to clean this up and grip her down and get that welded up once again. There she is, all gripped up, ready for welding. If I didn't know any better, I'd say that weld cracked and then rusted away. No professional welder here, but here it is with 2 passes. We'll go with the 3rd pass on top there to fill it in. There she be. I can pretty much guarantee that those 2 pieces of metal are never coming apart again. And that weld right there is pretty important.
So we got to make a piece that goes from here and comes down, and there's a hole on the other side. We got to rebuild this corner.
A quickie patch job it is. Just don't have the time to properly replace all this metal. Some of this is kind of heavily pitted, but we're just going to patch where the holes are and a little Bondo and on the way. I cut a notch out so I can get my hand back there, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it from about here to about there. There's still a good spot weld right here. Just have a rolled piece of sheet metal in here, and as far as the distance, it's kind of like spitting in the wind, trying to figure it out, but anything is better than what it was. I just got a new tool. It's a Roper Whitney punch for punching holes in thin sheet metal. Comes with a selection of dies. There it is tacked in. I just cut a couple relief cuts up in here and beat this to it, and now I can make my guesstimation. All those blokes from England can go ahead and rank on me. I really don't care. This repair here cost me $0. I bent that piece in a homemade brake. I know I need a somewhat of a rounded edge, so I'm not going to full 90. Got a second set of marks there. I'll probably bring it slightly up past 90. Went a little too far there. So I've completed the reconstruction of the inner door here. Had to add some corners on it and a little radius. This corner here is really weak. I got a thicker piece of metal about the size of that, and I drew a line back here with the Sharpie. I'm just going to try to cut that and duplicate it. There's that before welding. Spot welds I put in here made this kind of wavy. There it is after welding. It's solid now.
Oh yeah, it's a nice metallic green. I'm just taking off all the wax and crap before you sand it into the metal. We're not taking any of the chrome off or anything. We're just gonna mask that off. It's not gonna get new weather strip or anything. It's just trying to make it look so it's somewhat presentable. First time I ever used one of these, and I know we got 60 grit on here, so I think it's going to happen real fast, and I'm going to have to keep moving quick. Well, you can see how thick it is. You gotta hang on to it with your feet. Have a mixing tool. Like Tom. Today we had just epoxy primered over all the metal that had been ground down and just patched it. Didn't do any body work or anything. We're just trying to make it so it can't rust anymore. I took care of the cab that was, it was gone. There was no strength left to it. So we got them patches and put them in there, and now the cab will be solid. And we're going to be bouncing around through a farmer's field. And you can't have the cab, the seat break down or the cab fall. So we gotta get the other side done, and then she'll be solid. Then we'll think about painting the whole thing orange. So the door had rod holes in the bottom. It was patched. It's an epoxy primer right now, and it's not perfect, but it'll be, solid. You won't see holes going through it. We'll have to put a little bit more body work into it and then paint it orange.